Many years ago, I convinced my Canadian friends during the lockdowns to watch anime with me on Sunday nights. It was fun. We watched a lot of OVAs, mostly OVAs and weird movies, and it was great. And now we're doing a podcast where we try and make sense of all those wild weekends in the wastes of anime.
I'm Tristan.
I'm Miles.
I'm Geoff.
And this is Quest for the Best, the anime podcast where we watch the best anime ever made or not, and put it all on a list and try and come up with the definitive ranking of all the greatest anime ever made.
For today, us personally.
Yes, us personally.
Ever made.
Ever made.
And today
Period.
we're talking about Geoff's suggestion, Metal Skin Panic Madox-01.
Which is a mouthful, especially if you've been a fan of Full Metal Panic or Full Metal Alchemist.
Or Metal Gear Solid.
Both of which
or
came
Metal
out.
Gear Solid.
All three of which came out after this.
True.
And almost all of which were certainly, I mean, not Full Metal Alchemist, but the other two definitely were influenced by this OVA.
So much was probably influenced by this OVA, which in turn was influenced by Apocalypse Now, which is the real anime.
I mean, Apocalypse Now and, I'm blanking on
Hearts of Darkness, the documentary.
Hearts of Dark. No, I was going to say, God, what's the name of the movie?
What's the name of the movie? Should I just start listing names? Citizen Kane?
Back to the Future 3?
No, An Affair to Remember from 1957.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The two posters in his room. Yeah.
That's what it was. Also, this isn't a spoiler. I don't know if the version I had just had a weird translation thing, but was the writing on the label on the box in English for you guys when he was looking at the box?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that actually there? The English that made no sense, talking about Disney and a bunch of other things?
Yeah, we talked about it when we first watched together.
Yeah.
See, I don't remember that. Let me tell you this. So we watched this movie. This was part of the thing that Miles was explaining. This is one of the anime that we watched a number of years ago. If you can't tell, I have a bit of a fever and I'm a little bit sick today. And today was the day I decided to rewatch this prior to this show. And going into it, I was like, oh, hey, Metal Skin Panic Madox-01. That's probably very similar to that weird mech OVA thing we watched like 6 years ago that I don't remember at all. And it wasn't until about halfway through the OVA, I'm like, oh, this is the same one, isn't it? It did not register at all. So yeah, we probably did have that conversation because we watched it live and I was like, wait, are they talking about Disney and a bunch of other things? So yeah, they did. Yep. And that's a thing.
But we're going to get to that after our question of the week.
Let's do this.
Which this week comes to us from Phil T, who asks, what is an OVA/ONA and what distinguishes it from a series/movie? I just watched Lupin III, Immortal Bloodline, and gone down the rabbit hole of trying to remember if I watched the previous entries, and it turns out said entries aren't movies, but OVAs.
I mean, well, the first is the difference between OVA and ONA, which is just, is it a video or was it released on the net? ONA is original net animation, which usually means they've released it online. That's just method of release. And I guess OVA is kind of similarly because it wasn't broadcast on TV, but also I feel like the terms have been used out of those contexts, so it's a bit muddled.
I think ONAs are fundamentally different from OVAs just because like the financing model's completely different. Like I mean, you know, it's a similar style of release and you get a similar style of freedom, but like OVAs are or ONAs are much closer to regular TV shows in a lot of cases because it's just like, you know, with Netflix, it'll be an entire season order dropping all at once.
But it's not an ONA if it's on Netflix because Netflix just buys a TV show that was already being produced for TV 90% of the time. Like,
I mean,
these labels are...
Beastars is an ONA.
Sure, but like it's still done in a production committee system. It's functionally identical to a TV show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? ONAs are a lot of the time just TV shows, and the other half of the time they're
miniseries or movies
or completely original works like Dungeon and Television or Galaxy Galactic.
I know what you mean.
Limited
Milky
Express.
Subway.
Milky Subway, yeah.
But
why couldn't my brain go
like
there?
these categories don't like mean anything. That's kind of the problem, right? Like they are not
OVAs mean something.
OVAs evoke something, but it's like what we say anime, and people in Japan do not use anime in the same way that we do, right? Like we have, as Westerners, given it its own like level of meaning that is just completely unfounded to most people who work on anime or talk about anime. Like I
don't think OVAs are like that. Like ONAs, for sure, meaningless category, right? That
not always, but yeah, mostly meaningless.
Like it encompasses original YouTube uploads, Netflix commissioned series, the animator project. What was it called? The Animator
Dormitory?
Expo.
No, Animator Expo. Yeah. The Animator Expo project, like me, all of that stuff, right? That's all ONA, right? And there is innovation happening in that space, but like there's a big difference between me and
Madox.
Record of Ragnarok, right? You know, right. And like it's weird to put those in the same category.
Right, but I guess it doesn't say all the things that it ends up implying. Like the OVA era, we call it the OVA era because that financing method and that production method allowed for all the things you're talking about, allowed for like unrestricted, like the lack of committee system, the lack of needing to worry about commercial appeal, the lack of needing to meet Japanese television standards, right? And so by implying all those things, the platform is the product, right? The platform is the message in a little bit, right? But it's not quite so intrinsic just because it is a direct to video, like Aladdin 3 in the Aladdin and the Thousand
King of
Thieves or whatever, King of Thieves, is an OVA in the same way that Madox-01 is.
I mean, yes, and it's a pretty good one, right? Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. That's an OVA. That is, in fact, spiritually closer to the OVA era than most
pretty much in the ONA, yeah.
Oh yeah, and a lot of OVAs. You know, a lot of the bonus episodes that you get on DVDs, right? I mean, like literally the same people who made a lot of our favorite OVAs worked on Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island,
which is also one of our favorite OVAs.
Yeah, no, Zombie Island, Cyber Chase to a lesser extent, and the Alien one, where Shaggy gets that bad alien girlfriend.
I did not watch that one. I need to now.
You should. That one.
I've watched a lot of Scooby-Doo movies, and that's the thing. They're movies because I think a lot of these distinctions are so foundationally arbitrary, right? Like when you're talking about art as a product, they can make sense, I guess, from a categorization standpoint. But I think a lot of this just comes from my anime list categorization being very like strict and weird and regimented, and like those categories are not actually all that meaningful. And what are 90% of OVAs? Geoff, you kind of already said it. In the last 20 years, 90% of OVAs are episode 13s of TV shows. They stopped doing it in the last 5 years or so, but
or like episode 6.5s a lot of the time.
6.5s or episode zeros.
You know, like in between the story, they went to the beach for an episode. That's the High School of the Dead OVA, right?
Yeah, it was the bonus episode that they would put on the home video release that didn't really affect anything from a narrative perspective, but was a nice bonus for the people that. Sometimes from a narrative perspective, it's really important. Like the Nukitashi OVAs that are included on all of the Blu-rays. You know what those are? Just Protag banging all of the female characters. Each OVA is a different, like...
Isn't that what he does in the TV show too?
No, he only has sex with his one true love, and it's extremely dramatic, and he has to do it to unlock the manacles that only unlock when you have sex.
Fascinating.
Nukitashi is a glorious TV show. I mean, they have to do it to stop the sex fascists. It's...
But like, so for this purpose, right? Like, the commenter was talking about one of the Lupin films that are, it's part of like this series of kind of spin-offs of Fujiko Mine, the Fujiko Mine movie. And they're all directed by Takeshi Koike, the guy who did Redline. And they're all extremely good. But one of them is categorized as an ONA, the Zenigata one, and all the rest are categorized as movies. And that's just about where they came out distribution-wise. It has nothing to do with like the Zenigata one is just as much a movie as anything else. I guess it's a little shorter. It's like 53 minutes. And I'm looking up now, but like it's still foundationally a movie in the same way that the other Koike Lupins are. And like, I just like
Project Echo is another example of something that was an OVA when it was in production. And then they were like, this is good enough to release to theaters. So they did. Yeah.
And a lot of anime are getting released like that today now and have been in the past. Like, it just is about how things are funded or made or first released. And I don't think that like the fact that Devilman Crybaby was on Netflix first before it was on Japanese TV doesn't necessarily make it any different than a TV show.
I mean, I feel like Devilman Crybaby is one of the best examples of, you know, the ONA model allowed them to go a little more experimental with how they produced it and stuff. You know, probably Science Saru would have gone that route anyway.
Yeah, Crunchyroll's offered it too. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if like Netflix won the bid or wanted it more, but like
Crunchyroll dropped the ball on that. If there was any kind of, if it wasn't like a funding war, you know, like if they just
I'm sure
passed
it was. It always was back then. I mean, it still is. What?
But like, God, man, Devilman Crybaby was so good. We got to do a Devilman Crybaby episode.
There's so many good guests we can get on for a Devilman Crybaby episode too. If you are someone who would be a good guest or know someone who would be, message us. Let us know.
We have an email. But yeah, like the OVA era, I do feel was something special, right? You know, like specifically that period from the release of Dallos through,
and earlier in Dallos, the porn before that too.
I mean, well, no, Dallos was first. The porn came after Dallos.
The good porn came after Dallos. There was porn before Dallos.
No. Let me look it up. I think Lolita Anime might have beaten it to the.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
No, Lolita Anime was 1984, and Dallos was 1983. No, Dallos was 83. Yeah, Dallos was 83. Dallos was the first one because Dallos was literally just a failed TV show, and they were like, what are we going to do with this? Let's put it on VHS. And then they were like, wait a second, this is making a surprising amount of money for how dog shit it is. Because Dallos is really bad. Not really bad, but it's not good.
It holds up better than it should for being a 4-episode, like failed TV show pilot, basically.
Yeah. But it's, oh man, I'm looking at the Dallos poster is absolutely what inspired the Darkness Devil shot from Chainsaw Man, the manga. The Darkness Devil page. Go look at the Dallos poster right now. Just Google DALLOS.
Well, I need to look.
If you're listening to this, do it right now, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah." I don't know. Just to me, that, you know, it could just be a row. I mean,
I'm also getting Tron vibes from the thing. So
yeah, but maybe
although this
I'm
does
wrong.
predate Tron.
It does.
Sure.
I think it was 85.
I don't know. It's giving me the same vibe as the hallway to the Darkness Devil. but
Here's the
it
thing.
actually probably didn't inspire it. I'm being stupid.
I don't think that's an unreasonable take, to be completely honest, because it is,
especially considering who wrote Chainsaw Man.
yeah, and also it is a very
Fujimoto,
evocative image too. Like, it is kind of iconic in anime circles. One of the things with any new technology is it seems to be that the first two things that jump onto any new technology are porn and anime. And so that was clear with home video. You know, that happened with the internet more broadly too. That happened with streaming services. Like Crunchyroll had a bigger library than Netflix for years, right? Like it's and it's just, anime seems to be early adopting at something, a good early adapter in certain fields, but not in others.
I mean, I do find it really interesting that like anime had this whole sort of renaissance from, again, like Dallos to, I'd say the mid 90s is when the OVA era finally fell off. Cause like, you know, the Lost Decade hit and that was bad, but like people were still buying through it, right? Entertainment industries are notoriously recession proof. And, you know, to us, like people who were trying to cope with the Lost Decade happening were like, well, I'm still going to shell out for new Gundam OVAs, new good shit wherever I can get it. And there was still that good shit coming out until, I mean, I feel like Ava was when TV anime started really overtaking, Ava and Utena was when TV anime started overtaking OVAs as like the place where all of the innovation was really concentrating in the industry. Maybe it was a couple years before that, but I mean, you know, Tyler, right? Like Tyler created the production committee system for good and for bad, for a lot of bad. But
and even Tyler had OVAs.
I mean, Tyler also, Tyler and the OVAs are some of the best parts of Tyler. The OVAs are where you get Tyler Top Gun, and they're also where you get Gundam Top Gun. You know, there's a lot of Top Gun OVAs. If you are a Top Gun and anime enjoyer, get out there.
I should
watch some OVAs. There was this whole renaissance of like understanding that people with high-end video systems had like an interest in getting cool stuff to play on them, right? And, you know, understanding that the rental market opened up the ability to like sell a really expensive VHS to like this hub, like a media hub in every single major city. And I guess, you know, Japanese infrastructure versus American infrastructure made a big difference there, right? Like, you know, your local Blockbuster is something you had to drive to when we were kids and before that, right? Whereas your local video rental shop in Japan is somewhere you could just walk to, maybe take a train to, right? So it was probably a bigger business. You know, it's hard to say because I didn't live in Japan in the 80s, right? But like, I just find it so interesting that the anime industry was able to capitalize on this and make all these brilliant experimental films and miniseries and macro series, if we're talking about Legend of the Galactic Heroes, that like took advantage of this new market, and America just did nothing with it through the entire 1980s, really. They only got into straight-to-video films when the Scooby-Doo movies started coming out, right? When Disney started making all of their terrible sequels and put a stink on straight-to-video animation that persists to this day.
Yeah.
And like,
some of them aren't bad.
The
like,
return,
an extremely goofy movie is excellent. You know, like you were going to say, which one were you going to say? Not bad.
Oh, I was going to say Return of Jafar is terrible. Like over 300 million.
So Return of Jafar is weird because Return of Jafar is essentially a sequel to the Aladdin TV show, because Like they had
Prequel.
Castella doing
No,
doing
it's the
Genie.
pitch. It's the pitch for the pilot episode for the.
That was the pilot episode for the TV series. I thought it came after.
That's the problem with a lot of the Disney OVAs, right? If you want to call them OVAs, which you should.
Sure.
They kind of are, yeah.
Is that they're just Dallos, right? They are failed and or successful TV show pitches, right? That they
And
just
sometimes
put on
they have,
VHS to make a little more money.
Sometimes they have good things to them. So like I remember for like 2 or 3 years seeing the preview for, I think the Peter Pan sequel was Return to Neverland or something. Just like the trailer shot of the Jolly Roger over London crashing into things. Like this was early 2000s and that was really cool. And then you actually watch the movie and I'm like, yeah, that intro is sick as hell. And then they get to Neverland and the narrative just kind of dies.
Yeah, because you're watching a Disney Channel TV show that sunk all of its budget into the first 5 minutes of animation and then, was just expecting to ride off of that.
Captain Hook, Jolly Roger going to pick up Jane in London and then going back to Neverland. Yeah.
Yeah,
and this is in the middle of the World War, so it was like, air raid sirens and everybody was like, oh no. It was really good.
If Disney had adopted that model a few years earlier, we could have gotten absolutely peak DuckTales and Tailspin OVAs. Think about how well those would lend themselves to like hour-long movies.
Duck OVA.
So here's the thing with those is that the episodes were so good on their own.
No, I know. That's what I'm. What I mean. Like, DuckTales is spiritually the closest to anime that Disney original animation ever got, aside from maybe Gargoyles, right?
Yeah, Gargoyles was like more like Cyber 6 in tone.
Yeah, and it had like full serialization. It was really cinematic, right?
It didn't fit the same normal vibe as the Saturday morning cartoon that a lot of other things had.
Yeah, like man, that
Gargoyles is so good, dude.
Batman,
and it holds up.
Batman. Well, actually, no,
the OVAs for Batman were my favorite part of Batman. So the Dr. Freeze movie, the Dr. Freeze OVA was actually what made me a Batman fan for life.
DC did OVAs right.
They still do.
Right? Yeah. I mean, sometimes, like, man, The Killing Joke is so bad.
No, I'm saying like the ones that are actually anime,
is also
like Batman, Ninja Batman, and stuff like that. Come on.
Yeah, Batman. I mean, yeah, Batman Ninja. God, the original Batman versus Superman. That's actually like super good. Where Bruce Wayne just low key bangs Lois Lane.
That sounds like a problem for everybody involved.
It is. It absolutely is. I mean, I don't know if they actually. It's implied. It's
still for kids.
But like that's so much better than how the movies handled it. Where like they're like, oh Superman already together, right? How do you really introduce conflict to a Batman Superman story? You set it during a rough patch between Lois and Clark. And you throw Bruce Wayne in there, who is well known for banging reporters. That's so much more organic friction than like, I'm really concerned about like people using their extrajudicial power to influence American society, says the billionaire who spends millions of dollars to make crime fighting equipment and run a personal vigilante business. What
is this? Civil War, the Marvel movie, or
no? I'm also bad. Also really bad. Also like, but DC really did do the OVA thing really well, and you're right, still does sometimes. Like sometimes it's bad and weird and horny, like the Harley Quinn OVA where she sexually assaults Nightwing in that one. But like also there's that scene where she's working in the bar where all of it's like Hooters, but all the girls dress up in sexy Halloween costume versions of famous superhero and supervillain costumes. And Harley Quinn is just there as a sexy version of herself waiting tables. And that's like, that's an interesting addition to the DC animated universe. Like, yeah, perverts absolutely would be paying to go to superhero cosplay bars in a universe with real superheroes. That makes sense. That's cool world building. But what a weird but that's the most OVA of any of the DC OVAs, you know, like you guys don't know what I'm talking about. So that's
but also I just, again, like, I do think it's fine and good and fun to call things like like a twist in time is an OVA, right? Like, right. That's great and important, but
it's
also
a really bad OVA. Oh wait, no, Twist in Time's
people
a good
like
one,
Twist in
actually.
Time.
Yeah, Twist in Time's good.
Twist in Time's
No. Cinderella's good. Like the Cinderella OVA is good. Goofy movie OVA is good.
There are plenty of bad ones though.
Most of them are bad. Most of them are really bad. Man, the failed Atlantis TV show, that could have been so good, but it
the
really
Atlantis
wasn't.
ones aren't actually all that bad.
Are they? I feel like I was really disappointed by them.
They're not great, but like by the standard of everything else, they're actually not bad. Not as good as the movie, obviously.
I'm still
maybe I should go back and check it out
because I was at that time. I was a child, but I was writing a novel that had way too many similarities to Atlantis, and I also called it Atlantis. And so I was always mad at that movie for stealing my thunder.
That's okay. Atlantis has way too many similarities to Nadia and the Secret of Blue Water,
which I hadn't watched at the time. I was I was primed for that one too. The OVA distinction is not important. It's kind of my big point, though. Like, just don't worry about it. It is basically a relic. It is just it is a novelty or like a piece of trivia. It is not actually all that important. And even something being an OVA, again, does not necessarily mean it's got the certain traits that we like, that OVA's unlocked. It just means it was produced in a similar-ish fashion.
Yeah, I do think 1983 to 1995-ish there is a meaningful period of OVA production where all of it does kind of hit.
And it also doesn't necessarily line up with anything else. So the first time I remember ever hearing the term OVA was in context of the Slayers OVAs, because it's like I really got into Slayers, and the Slayers is like, okay, well, there are 3 TV series of Slayers. Then there's also the Slayers movies and the OVAs, but you don't need to worry about the movies and OVAs if you like the TV show, because some of the characters are there, some of them are different. There's a big-breasted sorcerer in the OVAs. She doesn't exist in the TV series. Don't worry about it. It's, yeah.
Whereas, kind of like Pat Labor in that respect, right?
Well, yeah, that too, because like Pat Labor TV and Pat Labor OVAs are essentially two separate things. 2 different timelines,
both good, right?
Oh yeah,
but
both good. And I mean, you can sort of fit them together. Not really, but
the other, I think, meaningful difference with OVAs as miniseries when that happened, as opposed to movies, is it allowed for not worrying about time slots and runtime and stuff like that.
Not having to put eye catches at specific times for ads and things, commercial breaks.
Yeah, long before Netflix kind of unlocked that for TV, right?
I love Stranger Things episodes being an hour and 10 minutes for no reason.
When they were 55 minutes for no reason, it was pretty good, right? You know, like that was nice. I mean, that's about the length that you could put something on TV, but it would be running for an hour and a half with all the ads that you had to put on it. Did you know that Stranger Things, they were still writing the final episodes while they were filming those same episodes?
I mean, that's pretty normal for productions nowadays, from what I'm gathering.
They
so
had
many
2
things are.
years.
Oh, we
of
started writing
pre-production.
like 2 years ago, but nothing got finalized until all the actors and things were already on set.
No, like they didn't know what the ending was going to be at the time that they were filming. It
made it up as they went along. Yeah,
it's so bad.
I mean, that's true for The Hobbit too. And that book the book it's based on was finished like 80 years before. So,
I mean,
Tristan,
but they
yeah,
the famously good Hobbit movies. Yes.
Yeah. No, that was. I mean, they had to tack on like 3 hours of fan fiction to make that a 9-hour movie trilogy somehow.
I'm sorry, the Silmarillion is not fan fiction.
And
I mean,
had to is also not the word I would use.
I mean, under a studio mandate, I don't think. I mean, maybe Peter Jackson was like, "Yes, this is a good idea." He probably was. I don't know.
No, he was not.
I'm not like I still think one of the great mysteries of The Hobbit is exactly how the conversation went down to convince Jackson to get onto the project in the first place.
Oh no, he talked about the. I literally just watched one of the behind the scenes videos about this conversation, where basically Guillermo del Toro was like, "I can't do it because New Line Cinemas was not giving them like 100% confirmation on the two movies and the timing." And he's like, "I can't just be in hiatus for another year. I have all these other projects I want to do." And it was obviously a really hard decision for him. He had worked on pre-production for years and had turned down other things to even just do that pre-production work. But he's like, "I need to just get stuff done. And if the investors aren't all lined up, if we don't have all the money, if we can't just start filming in any timetable, I'm out." And then Peter Jackson did not want to do it no matter what. But then it turned out that like they couldn't even start asking people around because the movies still weren't all the way funded. And so they couldn't get investors until he's like, "Yeah, I'll sign on." So if he wanted to see these get made at all, it had to be him because of the sequencing of things. No one would sign on to a project without a director, or no one would give them money without a director already attached.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so glad that Del Toro did all the other cool things that he did instead of The Hobbit, but I would have loved to see Del Toro.
Yeah, I mean,
do
I would be very curious on if they didn't screw him over, what a Del Toro 2-movie Hobbit would have been.
I think it would have felt a lot like Pan's Labyrinth, and
maybe.
I think it would have ruled.
Shape of Water came out during that time, I think. Like that's what he was doing instead. Or ended up like doing. Maybe I'm getting the timing a little wrong, but I like Shape of Water, but I could have lived without Shape of Water if he got to do The Hobbit properly.
Yeah.
And then I mean in and around when The Hobbit 3 came out was when he did Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering the time correctly. And I mean, like, as much as I would want to see the 2 Hobbit movies, I would not want to give up the first Pacific Rim for that.
I still would.
I'd give up the Pacific Rim sequels for it, but I would not.
Yeah, but he wasn't involved with those. Who cares?
I'd give up pretty much anything for a proper Hobbit adaptation by Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, like, that would.
Of all things that almost happened, that would have been really wonderful for the world.
Yeah,
that's pretty high on my list personally. Tristan, you were trying to say something a little while ago.
About what specifically? We have moved on so far. Do you remember? Because
before we started talking about The Hobbit.
We were in the Stranger Things chat still. Yeah.
We were in the Stranger Things chat. I probably mentioned that a variety of different things. It was more of an offhanded comment where I said a lot of different things are going to, hey, we didn't finish the script before filming. And you hear about that a lot. Like the amount of times, Miles, that I heard the stories about how, oh, hey, Russell T. Davies started writing Doctor Who like years in advance, only to turn out, oh, wait, yeah, we're still writing as the actors are on set 2 years after pre-production started. And I'm like, this is bad, man. But this is going to make a wonderful novelization or documentary or something behind the scenes expose in like 5 or 10 years.
You know what's crazy is the Duffer Brothers released that themselves alongside the end of Stranger Things.
Well, that almost seems like a kind of cushion the blow of yeah, it's probably going to be bad. Here's why. Leading into it rather than them saying, oh no, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the best ending we've ever done.
Drew Gooden,
go watch it.
Drew Gooden had this really interesting theory that because the Duffer Brothers just ended their contract with Netflix and they don't have creative control over that documentary, Netflix put it out to make them look as bad as possible.
Entirely
and shift
possible.
All of the blame for the end of Stranger Things onto them.
I mean, that would make sense. And I mean, fans have done that before. Like you look at Game of Thrones, nobody blames HBO for Game of Thrones.
Even though they absolutely should.
At least to a point. Like, they share the blame.
I mean, you know, like, we don't talk enough about how George R.R. Martin maybe deserves a little bit of Like, I mean, not a lot of blame for that, but like,
No blame at all.
if he'd finished the books on time,
It wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah, the two things that he did wrong, which you can argue how bad that is one, he didn't finish things in time, so people had to go off script because there was no script to do for. And two, he has at least twice now handed over the reins to people that don't know what they're doing when they don't have a book to follow.
yeah,
He has done that twice now.
yeah.
First time, shame on me. Second time, won't get fooled again.
at least Brandon Sanderson learned from that and the abysmal failure of the Wheel of Time TV show.
I mean, learned is
We'll see.
maybe not the right word. Maybe I think he's overcompensating. I think he's kind of like taking it way too far the other direction.
Yeah, I'm very concerned because he's never made a movie or TV show before.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. So, like, when I look into the history of, like, reasonably good to, like, really great books that got turned into good movies, it was usually because the author didn't interfere much and it was handed to a team that knew what they were doing. So, like, the very first Harry Potter movie with Chris Columbus, really great for what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
But-
I think the original Harry Potter movie franchise was kind of a miracle of cinema, right? You know, like
Largely, yeah.
because they like J.K. Rowling stayed out of it. That was really important. And like
We don't need to get into
we don't need to get into this, but
Not the place.
like the casting, the production design, the music, there's a lot of like really, really impressive work that has nothing to do with her. And it's a shame that anytime I want to indulge in nostalgia for all of those great things, I have to give that horrible person money.
I still got my old
steal
DVDs. I don't
Stealing
need to
it
give
is
extra money out.
That's a good point. But she did still get money from them the first time that you bought them.
I mean, yeah, but that was back when, they came out. And then the only thing that I hated was the fact that they changed the design on the spine of the DVD so that they stopped matching after, movie 3. And I got really freaking annoyed. Not the most annoying cover thing that has ever existed on a shelf in possession of me or my family, which goes to the VHSs of the Star Trek movies. My God, that is terrible. You know what I'm talking about, Miles?
I do.
You do.
Oh my God. That takes me back.
That sucks. Geoff, so what they did for the VHS releases of all the Star Trek films, like the original ones with the TOS crew, they had this wonderful, beautiful matte painting design of the Enterprise and this big-ass red nebula. But then when they started putting them on the VHSs, they aligned everything for just the first 5 movies. And then movie 6 came out, so all they did was extend the matte painting. But if you put that on a shelf, it's centered to the wrong VHS, so it's like perfectly centered image, and then this extra bar of red just tied on to the end of it, and it looks so bad. And then for generations, they just said fuck it and did their own thing, and they're all different and they don't match, but whatever. But that is terrible. I hate it. If you're gonna release things, keep the spine the same, at least for the first printing. If you want to do other printings and do weird whatchamahave-its, that's fine. I'm already pretty pissed off that like all of my Discworld stuff stops at a point because they got different people doing the book designs. And yeah, okay, fine. It's been over 20 years. You're not going to get the same guy doing the book cover that they had in the 80s. Cool. Great.
You're going crazy over that. My Discworld books are from different publishers because there's so many different like imprints that have Discworld. So I've got like tiny little books and
no. Like these ones. These are the ones that I love with this art, this artist, this style, that spine. Like 80%, 80 to 90% of my Discworld books are this because this is the one I want. That's the one that I started with. It's the one that my mom started collecting. But then all the new ones, like
are boring.
Snuff and Thud and a bunch of other ones, never got this.
Yeah,
so I
they've got the like black spines that look like 18 plus Lego sets, basically.
Yeah, or like I have Unseen Academicals, but like that's not the same spine. And putting up against everything else, it feels like it's a different series and not Discworld at all. I'm sorry, Miles. This is
Unseen Academicals is I really love that cover. I've got that one too. I don't know if I got to reading it though. Actually, now
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the first manga I ever bought was Full Metal Alchemist, right? And the first 3 volumes in America had a like foil cover.
One of them is literally holding up the stand to my camera right now.
But then for volumes 4 and onward, and for reprints of the first 3, they don't do that.
No.
And it makes me, and they're like, if you line up all my Full Metal Alchemist volumes, you can see like the progression of the Viz logo over the years. The kerning's slightly different, or like the little where the number is slightly different. But I don't know, it's whatever. I mean, I still have my like original JoJo's release volumes next to the nice hardcovers because I'm not going to rebuy part 3. I don't care enough. Maybe I should.
Anyway,
let's move on. Today, our side quest. I hope that answers your question, Phil. It doesn't. Today, our side quest. We have a listener question that I'm going to read, but it's going to bring into a larger topic because I think the topic is interesting, and all 3 of us agreed. Actually, I didn't even agree. You guys just said, "Let's do this." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." Tristan flipped the coin, actually, to be completely transparent.
I literally flipped the Gowrie coin between this and a different option, which we might cover in a different day.
Hello, Quest for the Best. I've been wondering lately about the role High Dive plays in the streaming market, being a direct competitor to Crunchyroll, but obviously much smaller. Personally, I think it is important. However, High Dive occupies such a niche role that I was wondering how they could possibly grow and become an actual competitor against other platforms. They're owned by AMC Networks, but that seems to matter little with the poor quality of the app, less and less good exclusives. Don't talk about Oshinoko. Not streaming Legend of Galactic Heroes, but having the majority of the Sentai Filmworks library TLDR. What can be done to improve High Dive to actually being able to compete with Crunchyroll from Max with 2 X's?
I mean, from a layman's perspective who doesn't know most of the back end things, the obvious answer is not have a shit streaming service.
It wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, I mean
that, and then just getting everything you own on there and praying to the gods that you can actually get better stuff, even though Crunchyroll is existing on the production committee for like most of the good new stuff.
Unfortunately, like a lot of the stuff that made High Dive, I think, really good a couple years ago when we were using it for our watch parties and stuff like that.
Yeah,
was all those like watch party features also killed its competitive viability because they made it not work on those things would never work on a console app or a smart TV app. And they prioritized developing the website for hardcore otaku over making an accessible
streaming
app
platform
like that. Because I mean, for a while they were working through Verve, right? You could just watch all the High Dive stuff on Verve, I think, and also Prime Video.
Prime Video was
the Verve player. Rest in peace. Was such a good player. I loved using
the Crunchyroll
when
player.
It actually worked.
Yeah, it was.
It's the new Crunchyroll player. Or new. It's the 2020 Crunchyroll player. Is the Verve player.
And it
doesn't feel like it though.
It's a good play. Like, I mean, the thing is, you're thinking of the Crunchyroll player now after 5 years of neglect and zero work going into back end optimization. Not zero, but miles close enough, right?
I would have liked to have seen bigger improvements in the 5 years since I left the company. Yes, but there have been pretty significant improvements. One of the things is most of the changes are hard for casual observers to track, and you need to kind of have like someone who's a little more technical to actually be able to quantify them. Like when people say, "Oh, Crunchyroll never works for me, but these other apps do," it's like, well, maybe you're just at the like. There are a lot of reasons why that could be the case, but usually people just are more emotionally connected to anime, and so they will notice it more when their anime is having issues than other things. So that's not to say that Crunchyroll performs at the same level as Netflix. Of course not. Like there's never been a case where that's been the situation where that's been the case. But if you compare it to Prime Video or Hulu or Disney, all of which do not allow you to stream in HD on a desktop, and Netflix also does not let you stream in HD on the desktop usually, it's kind of nice to be able to at least get the same quality video on desktop versus an app.
Except that Crunchyroll just will randomly bit crush the video down to like
140,
360p. Yeah,
and you can't lock it in place anymore, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, that's one of the worst
adaptive
things that they've changed about it with like the automatic adaptive streaming. Just let me lock it in. Let me, if I want to, wait for the buffer.
Yeah, let it sit there and buffer.
You know, I would rather do that than just be watching something and suddenly it's pixel garbage, right? Like,
no, it's unacceptable. And like, taking away a choice that the users previously had is generally a bad move, but especially when it comes to something like anime where fans are extremely particular. Like, a lot of the people who are going to be most upset about this are the people who were pausing YouTube videos in the morning when before they went to school, right?
Right. Oh, you know, man, like, I remember that.
We're used to this shit. Like, it's fine. Let us do it. But like, I'm gonna just take a quick issue with the question.
Okay.
High Dive does not play any role in the streaming market.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think that there's no question here. High Dive operates in 4 countries now. But when they license something, they usually license it for World X Asia. Means every time High Dive gets licensed, it actually just makes anime less available worldwide, because they will get the license for Latin America and like Europe, but then not in Africa, and then not do anything with it. They won't sub-license it usually, and yet like, and that's kind of that's very frustrating for me that they wound down the service in like LATAM and stuff, because they didn't have a big audience there, obviously, but they had an audience there, and they were an option, a legal option, and now there's no legal option, and so it is a net negative for the whole of anime when that happens. People say they want competition, or competition breeds competition breeds innovation, and yet most of the time when Funimation was like, when I was at Control and we were competing with Funimation for subscribers, there were very few resources being put into Crunchyroll, the application, and the relationship between new features or improving video quality and the number of subscribers was completely random. The Gabe Newell idea that like piracy is a service problem is not reflected in the data almost ever, but it's also not reflected in just like logical thinking, because people do not pick which streaming service they're watching on based off of features.
No.
As long no, consumers, not you specifically. Do not fucking bean soup this Geoff Thew.
I was just gonna say, like, there was a brief period where the watch party feature on High Dive, I think, was legitimately a killer app, and if they'd been able to properly optimize that during 2020 specifically, right, when people were in lockdown, if that had been working, they could have like actually become players in the industry. But instead, they were sunsetting LATAM and, you know.
No, so, I mean, the thing is, that's just like, that would have maybe moved some people like us over, right? And it did move us over. We used High Dive a lot, and I still use High Dive every once in a while. But if it shows on High Dive, I'm going to just be less likely to watch it because it's not part of my system. The problem with streaming is that the only thing that fans actually care about is availability of shows. The reason that Crunchyroll jumped up like in subscribers 5x or 3x in the last 5 years since 2020 is not because they've made their service better. It's because the number one thing that fans actually want is all their content in one place. Competition did not make Crunchyroll or Funimation better.
Well, hold up. From Crunchyroll, or like, competition did keep them honest. At least it prevented them from getting worse.
No,
I think
the number of resources that both of those companies put towards their streaming product at that time, much to the chagrin of even the developers working on Crunchyroll, because most of them weren't allowed to work on Crunchyroll. Like, they felt like they were hired to work on Crunchyroll and they couldn't work on Crunchyroll. Like, that was the story of the 2010s. It was really frustrating for a lot of people, myself included, even though I wasn't a developer. If you look at, like, people are not subscribing to Hulu over Disney, or, I mean, they're now the same especially in America, but like people are not picking which streaming service they subscribe to based off of features. They think they may be, they say they may be, but it's really just about where can they watch the content that they want to watch, and have you hit a critical mass of it. So in Crunchyroll and Funimation now we're 2/3 of the anime industry combined, then there was no reason to go to one or the other. Funimation had better, quote unquote, better titles than Crunchyroll for years and had a fraction of the subscribers. And a big part of that was just marketing. You're welcome. But like,
I mean, I think it was marketing. I also think like for, like they had simuldubs and those were fine, and good in a lot of cases. Right. But
good for
they weren't
the ones that they actually worked on.
They weren't marketing
them.
There
were plenty of simuldubs that were like, okay, you just kind of threw this together in a day this week.
And it dragged I think the reputation of the whole simuldub concept down, right?
Sure.
It all depended on like the show and what they got in advance. Because I think the simuldubs for like Hiroaka were pretty good only because they actually had the material a lot sooner than like a week or so in advance.
Yeah, and you could be doing pre-production by reading the manga, for example, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it also led into other problems too, where it's like, if you had a simuldub of a long-running show and a character shows up and you're like, oh, we can't get this voice actor in on short notice, I guess we're going to have to sub them in for this week. People notice.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, that didn't even happen that much, but when it happened, it was such a big story that people lost faith, and the losing the faith part is the damning part. And also, if your whole messaging as a company is about dubs, then the early adopters, the people who care about simulcast most, are watching subs. Like,
exactly.
It has somewhat changed in recent years, but like the early adopters are more sub heavy. And so if you are never talking about subtitled anime and you're always putting the English voice actors front and center, you're going to attract an audience appropriately.
And Funimation subtitles were also terrible. Like, I remember, because I came up on YouTube at the height of the Funimation versus Crunchyroll thing,
I mean, you
right?
say terrible, but like, I actually have discs released by Sentai that got replaced for free by Sentai because they mess up the subs on the home video release.
I mean, that's, we're going back to talking about High Dive.
Yeah.
But like I feel like Funimation just was very confused as to what their product was and who it was for, right? Like subtitles are what matter to those early adopters, right? And the fact that Crunchyroll subtitles were more readable, the average consumer might not have noticed that directly, but their brain did, it just felt better to watch an anime on Crunchyroll with the simulcast than it did on Funimation. And I think a big part of the issue is that dubs shouldn't be a simultaneous release product like that. It doesn't really make sense. Like, a dub should be something that like you get the full product, you have time to work with it, and then you release it to DVD or TV for the secondary market. It's a chance to like find a new audience for something, not the people who are already committed to importing anime and consuming as much anime as possible. They're not interested in a dub. A dub is for Toonami. A dub is for home video, right?
I mean, this has changed a bit.
I still think like
I mean, it depends on the show, because like when Netflix came out with the new Ghost in the Shell 2045, I did not watch that in sub. I didn't want to watch it in sub. I wanted to watch it dubbed
because you grew up on the SAC dub but the SAC dub that was produced for television after it aired, and like very, very well massaged to be its own complete product and adaptation, right? It
wasn't that much later than the sub. I didn't feel like,
but
I don't think it was like simuldubbed in the same way that like Crunchyroll and Funimation does it. But I don't think it was. It was very
enough
long time.
It doesn't have to be that long. It's just enough time to develop it out as its own product, right? Because I think fundamentally, subtitles are liner notes, right? Whereas a dub, no matter what you do, is going to be a new adaptation, right? Fundamentally, you are recreating half of the audio-visual experience of the anime. You're going to change it. There is no way to avoid changing it, and it has to be a natural feeling. It has to feel like an organic product of the new language that you're producing it for. It has to feel like a complete, like you're not just watching some crappy dub of something that was better in another language, right? Which is how it so often feels with those simuldubs, because they're rushing it out to just have it out day and date with the subtitles.
Yeah, and it's like the people that are adapting the script, they may have seen the original or read the original material, but like chances are they haven't watched the show because it's not done. Like the actors can kind of guess where their character arcs might be going and can act accordingly, but not always. Just the lack of knowledge of where things are going kind of showcases pretty early on.
Yeah, there are a lot of things you can do, just like understanding the direction of what a character's thinking now, because you know what they're going to do later, right? There's so many little things that are lost in the simuldub process, and I just think it was a huge mistake for Funimation to go in that direction. Not that they were punished for it, because at the end of the day, they ended up on top of the streaming market just by virtue of getting money first. And I mean, they did get that money first because they were producing dubs, right? I'm sure that there were people in Japan who were like, yes, let's do simuldubs, right? Like this is really impressive, right? Because they don't actually have to listen to them. They're just understanding that, oh, you know, you're dubbing a whole show the same week it comes out in Japan. That's pretty impressive. Good job, you guys. You clearly know what you're doing. We should invest in you. Versus these people, they're just putting words on a screen, you know, like who'd,
Well,
you know,
it's more,
but
I think, so
I'm
two quick
saying
things.
that-
One, the Funimation was available to be purchased, which is why it was purchased by Sony first.
Yeah, that's true, you know.
And it would have been purchased, like Gen bought and sold. Gen Fukunaga, the founder and CEO, original CEO of Funimation, bought and sold the company like 4 times and made off pretty well each time. He's a very savvy business guy. The dub quality, I will say, I am not a dub connoisseur. I watch very few anime dubbed. Most people who are very into dubs think that this is the current golden era of anime dubs, even though most dubs are coming out within 2 weeks of Japanese release.
Well, I mean, I think the reason for that is with stuff like Delicious in Dungeon, for example, they've got the people directing that dub are clearly fans of not just the anime, but the manga, right? So they're
well, I mean, that helps because you don't always get dub directors or anybody involved with the dub adaptation that gives a care about the original material. That's a rarity. And sometimes
it's not a rarity anymore.
That's the thing. It's not a rarity anymore because so many people are anime fans, right?
Yeah.
And like, dubs are taken seriously, and that, you know, going back to talking about ONAs, if there is one real advantage that the ONA system has over not OVAs, but TV, it's that ONAs tend to have a much longer lead time between actually getting made and going to air, which allows for those simultaneous dub releases.
Except most OVAs and ONAs don't get dubs, like, ever.
ONAs, I mean...
Not always.
If they're on Netflix, they do.
But there are so many ones that I have that are always only sub only.
But if they're on Netflix, they do. Like just as a matter of course, you know.
Not as a matter of course anymore. No.
I can't think of a Netflix thing in, you know, like Netflix shows that are airing weekly don't necessarily get
Netflix doesn't do shows anymore. It does. It's only done like 2 in the last year.
But you know, like that Love Through a Prism had a dub right out of the out of the gate. Beastars has had a dub out of the gate since the beginning, a really good dub. I mean, you know, I just think Netflix's the dub teams that they hire are always on point. You can go to Disney. Disney has some really good dubs. The Twisted Wonderland dub is fantastic, right? The Summertime Rendering dub, awful. There's like one good performance in the entire thing, and that's it's just a matter of not great direction.
Well, they switched to they worked with.
Yeah. Or I mean, then Amazon Prime, like they have some good dubs. I think I haven't watched the dub for Sanda, but I believe it has a good dub.
I like the dub. I didn't have the choice but watch it because I was watching it at the gym, and one time it went into the dub, and I'm like, I'm going too fast now on the stairs. Can't switch to the subtitle. Guess I'm gonna have to do this, and it was fine. I actually really enjoyed it. To be honest, it was quite a good dub. AI dubs, though. Do you see Time? I mean, Time Magazine covered that.
Which one?
I didn't see Time Magazine covered it, but yeah, I mean, the AI dubs were awful. And the thing is, it makes me mad because the way that they made those AI dubs is there's a show that released on Netflix on Prime the same season that they dropped the AI dubs for all of that stuff called Ninja vs. Gokudo.
Did we not talk about this on podcast?
We might have, but it was
because we did a whole thing on AI dubs, and I don't want to repeat ourselves too much.
Yeah, we won't. You know, I just as a catch up for anybody who might be watching this without watching that, like I really like the Ninja vs. Gokudo dub because it's terrible, because it like really fits the specific vibe of Ninja vs. Gokudo, which feels very much like
Slipshot
80s OVA core and not the good ones, but it's like it's funny bad, right? But the thing is, it was made by a bunch of amateurs. I think basically every actor in it was like a first-time voice actor. It was a new studio, and they got this awful contract that gave away their voices to Amazon's AI training systems, right? And all of like part of the reason that all of those dubs sound so awful and awkward, part of it's AI not understanding context and like fundamentally not being able to act, which, you know, even as AI generated videos have gotten substantially better and you can actually like line up an actor's performance with the word, like their mouth flaps now, you know, with these Tom Cruise fist fighting Brad Pitt
Chan.
Tom Cruise Brad Pitt fist fighting, and it feels like they're acting, but like there's no emotion behind the performance. There's no like coherent direction to it. It's just, you know, still kind of random. That's a problem. But also the performances that they were modeling off of it were very bad. And that's a big part of why those came out so bad.
It's so interesting that Amazon Prime, one of their executives just said recently, like the head of their APAC content team said that they're going to start being the destination of anime. And so
that scares me so much.
It's one of the issues I have is that all these services other than Crunchyroll, which just raised their prices, and High Dive, which has a very small amount of new content and is losing old content all the time. All the other mainstream services make you pay extra to not have ads. Like even Prime Video does this now, and it's so frustrating. But like, let me just put it into context. In 2025, of all new anime, more than 2/3 went to Crunchyroll, right? That's more than double everyone else combined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Netflix is number 2 with 8% of new anime. Mm-hmm. Then Hulu and Disney at 7%. Because they're going to be one service by the end of the year or by summer. Prime Video at just under 6%. High Dive at just under 5%. And then other
that's so sad.
Is like
that's so sad.
6%. So like
for High Dive,
no service has any meaningful quantity of anime. And I've sent a bunch of like requests to the what's it called? The part of the US government that's in charge of like mergers and acquisitions. And
I don't remember.
And they won't share anything about, like, they determined that the Crunchyroll Funimation acquisition was not a monopoly, even though 2/3 kind of would normally signify it. And that's because anime is fungible, right? People will replace anime with, other things, with Castlevania, with Digital Circus, with, all these other shows. So it's not necessarily considered from their perspective or from a consumer perspective. Most consumers who watch anime consider anime to be fungible with other content.
I mean, that is the logic, but also, like,
It's bad logic.
There hasn't been meaningful antitrust action from the U.S. government in decades.
This was also during the Biden years, where you could hope a little bit. Like the person in charge of it, in charge of the department. I mean, it didn't happen. The person in charge of the department was very full of bluster, and everyone thought that there was going to be some meaningful antitrust action, and there wasn't. But also, to be clear, if you talk to the average anime fan, they will say Netflix has a huge content library. They only get 8% of new shows, and most of those are not exclusive anymore. And the total number of anime that Netflix has in the US is about 10% of what Crunchyroll has. Like, their whole catalog is about 10% of Crunchyroll's. So,
but I mean, that's still an impressive library. And I think maybe the reason that that people have this perception that they have a lot of anime is that the Netflix library is pretty curated. There's a lot of bangers in there. The banger density is a lot higher than Crunchyroll.
Well, because, like, all you really need is when most people, the average person, only watches a very small handful of shows. And if one or two of those handful of shows a year end up on Netflix, that's what they'll remember. Yeah. So it doesn't matter that Netflix only gets 10% of all anime if the majority of people watch that 10%.
You can watch JoJo there. You can watch
Dandadan there. Even though, yes,
Dandadan.
that is elsewhere, but most people I know consider Dandadan a Netflix show.
Hunter x Hunter. Most people watched Hunter x Hunter on Netflix. One Piece only, like One Piece being on Netflix was huge for it. I think Attack on Titan was there at one point.
It still is.
It still is. Okay, yeah. So, like, they have pretty much all the good shit, right? And that's...
I mean, Geoff, like, you stole the words out of my mouth. They nailed it with their catalog. So, like, even Crunchyroll will sub-license to them, knowing that the hardcore fans are going to not be able to wait for season 2 of, like, Mashal. So they'll watch season 1 of Mashal on Netflix, and then they'll go to the ideas. They go to Crunchyroll. The challenge with anime as a specific medium, and which is why, like, the tie-dive question is kind of like a non-question, is all these services with anime compete with piracy in a way that other content doesn't. So even though piracy is at its lowest rate in history, in, like, for North America in history, piracy's never been lower for anime. Even though there's more people watching anime than ever before, it is still way, 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 way higher than not anime, right? Like, the biggest anime pirate site, the bootleg pirate site where you can, watch the streams, is bigger than any individual pirate site, general pirate site for movies or TV shows. If you look on torrent sites, which represents less than 10% of piracy, it's not very relevant. Anime still dominates, has more seeders and leechers than, like, everything. And, like, this only gets more, like... Go ahead.
I mean, there are... That is, like, it's not entirely a service issue, but the fact that you can get decent typesetting on...
That's not the version people download, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
If people actually cared about the quality of stuff, they wouldn't, like, so I've heard people say, like, oh, I'm not going to watch on this site because it's got, the bit rate, or because of the typesetting. And then they go and I say, so where do you watch it? And they always say, oh, like, this site. And it's like, oh, uses the rips.
You're not torrenting.
And even if they do torrent, there's, again, a 9 out of 10 chance they're watching the rips.
The horrible subs rip. Yeah.
It's not called horrible subs anymore.
There's a lot of different names for them now.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all fundamentally Crunchyroll
official,
rips, but
or Hulu or
where. But, I mean, the thing is, often there will at least be, like, not often, but there are sometimes little polish updates to that, like moving the typesetting for signs.
I'd say often, but that's not what gets downloaded or uploaded to bootleg streaming sites, right?
Yeah. Like if I was able to torrent in Japan, which, you know, don't like you need to understand, right? Like, if you live in Japan and you torrent something and you seed 1 megabyte of that file, you are distributing. You are a pirate website and they will legally come after you.
That's true around the world. It's just not enforced.
But I mean, yes and no, right? Like, I think Canada, they treat it like a library. From a legal perspective.
Canada, they got very good at scaring people off, because if your ISP notices that you're torrenting, they will send you an email to whoever is registered under the ISP. And that usually scares off most people, but there's not very often any action beyond an automated email.
You can't stop me, Tellus. I don't read my emails.
Both for good and ill.
Yeah, Anime North, I'm sorry.
I say all this, though, to not like be doom and gloom. It's just to be a competitor to Crunchyroll. You're not going to be making them better. You're just going to make them be more protective. Like that is actually, to get the most customers, they need to be defensive of their IP and of getting a future anime, which is, to Tristan's point earlier, why they're co-producing so many anime. Because if they're on the production committee, no one else is allowed to license it. It is the ultimate defensive measure. And if the only important things that matter are not actually the quality of the titles necessarily, but that they have a lot of critical mass of titles and that they market them effectively, which they do for a lot of titles. Like, I've got my complaints, but like they do a good job marketing their tentpoles. Like, it's there's no one who's going to compete with Crunchyroll strictly on anime in the near future with the current paradigm. The paradigm can shift. Netflix does compete because, like you guys said, people who watch Delicious in Dungeon have way more positive feelings towards Netflix than even like the most diehard Crunchyroll fans have towards Crunchyroll. And that's the only anime they watched that whole year, and that's fine because that's the only anime they needed to watch that year. Maybe they watched Freerun when Crunchyroll sublicensed it to Netflix.
Which was a very good move on Crunchyroll's part. Very smart.
I don't know if they had the choice. It could have been Toho pressuring them to do so.
Well, I mean, still, like, Freerun being on Netflix was very good for Freerun.
It was.
But the idea that Amazon has like more than once been like, we are going to become a destination for anime. Do you remember Anime Strike?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh God. Like, what a disaster.
We can't do a history lesson, unfortunately. We should one of these days.
I have a video about why Anime Strike is terrible from like 8 years ago. But
back when such things was relevant.
Yeah, really good thumbnail. I'm still proud of that thumbnail. I used Anime Strike is like the Wicked Witch of whichever one gets crushed by the house.
East.
It's a good thumbnail. Yeah, Wicked Witch of the East. But yeah. Anyway, they've been like saying, "Oh, we're gonna step in and we're gonna become the go-to place for anime for a really long time." And they've got Ghost in the Shell, which is a really good get. What else did they get this year?
They don't need to get exclusives if they just get a critical mass, and they can get a critical mass because more publishers are looking to license non-exclusively. Don style. There are so many people on, like, if you look at like the Nielsen ratings for like Amazon Prime, there are a lot of people on Amazon Prime. But if you are a anime fan who is on Amazon Prime, you'll never be served anime, or not as often as you should be, especially not the new stuff. Like, I get served it because I'm like searching it up all the time, but still not as much as I should be. It's still saying I should watch this new movie with Dave Bautista, and then I watch it, and then it serves me more like movies for old dads about with aging action stars, and then I watch them, and then I never see anime on my Amazon Prime Video, and it's like, what's going on Amazon Prime Video? I still want to watch The Dinner Table Detective just because I watch everything with Jason Statham. Does not mean I don't also love anime.
I only watch anime on Amazon Prime, right? And I still don't get recommended new anime. Every time that there's an anime on Amazon Prime for the season, I have to like consciously go and search it to find it. I can't just check the front page the way I can with Netflix. Even with Netflix, if they've got a new simulcast for a season, it's gonna be on the front page,
unless
recommended to me as an anime enjoyer. No, even Leviathan.
I never saw Leviathan once. I was so mad. I mean, I watched it, but like I didn't see it on the front page ever.
God, what a man! They like that's that.
And the Amazon front page for me was always Grand Tour because that's the only non-anime thing I ever watched there.
The fact that Netflix just does so many of the anime that they partner with that dirty on like not marketing them at all, whole other conversation. But like
that's what I'm saying.
So the thing is, I'm a hardcore, like maybe I'm different because I'm a hardcore anime fan, right? But like literally
Built different.
Any time that I have a choice between watching an anime on Amazon Prime and watching it literally anywhere else, except Disney Plus is the only place that I would want to watch an anime less because they don't have subtitles. They only have captions. But like Amazon Prime subtitles are bad.
Bad.
They're really bad. Like worst in industry for people who still have subtitles.
But they could fix that. That's what I'm saying. Like if they fix that and they just get licensed to critical mass of anime, which they can do because they have Amazon money because they are literally Amazon. Like all they have to do is want it and they can do it. Same with Disney. Disney could do it, especially now that Hulu's consolidating with Disney. I actually think both of those companies could really like make a big splash like Netflix has, where they could emotionally be known as a place where anime is watched overseas. I
think they could if Netflix wasn't already in that place, right?
No, like, I think they can. It's all down to can they? Absolutely. Will they?
I mean, it requires like a sustained effort from people who give a shit about anime, right?
You need someone in the C-suite to give a shit. Yeah.
As much as many complaints as I have about Netflix management for so many different reasons, they've been hiring good people to manage that program for a long time. They had Rob on, right? You know, like Rob is one of the best people you could possibly hire to like curate a good anime collection, right?
And the person programming from Japan side now, I think she's brilliant. Like it's
I don't know her, but like they're doing great work, right?
There's multiple people, but like I know like the acquisitions. But anyway, they're making the decisions.
There are good people working on dubs at Disney, right? Like I know people on the Disney dub team who are really passionate about anime, right? But like, is that reaching their social media marketing teams? No.
It's starting to.
Wait, they've made tweets about?
No, they don't make organic posts about it, but they do ads, a lot of ads. Paid media matters a lot, and they're like actually they promoted Twisted Wonderland quite a bit. They'd send out emails about Twisted Wonderland algorithmically, like it's not going to go to you, but
I got them.
I was referring to Geoff. I can believe it going to you.
It might have gone to me. I just didn't read it.
I never watched it. I got them.
But I mean, Disney Twisted Wonderland they better be marketing that because that's like the biggest slam dunk moneymaker I think that Disney has had for a lot of their like core brands. For
overseas fans, no.
It could be.
It could be, but it's not. But it's the fact that it did well, it did top 10 in the US for like a couple days is impressive, but there was a huge paid media campaign and it wasn't sustained. Like
that's what I'm saying. If the
app monthly active users in the US did not go up. In Canada did not like go up much. Like it was a little bit, but not really as much as I would have expected based on how many people we saw were watching the anime, both our estimates on Disney and Hulu and what we were seeing on pirate sites. But like the piracy ratio is very low because a lot of people weren't actively seeking out Twist. They were getting served it, which is crazy for a Disney anime.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like that doesn't happen with any of their other stuff. And I mean,
it's a brand new day.
Like Amazon could start pushing stuff and I think it would help, but like, unless they have somebody curating the collection to the degree that Netflix has theirs curated, I don't think that they'll be able to push in the same way, right? Because
Amazon, call me.
There's call us. We can, we'll make you, we'll get you on top if you listen to us. But
don't listen to me. I'll make recommendations that fit only me and just me.
No,
it'll be the perfect streaming service for Tristan.
The recommendations that fit only you are like probably some of the cheapest, like, quality to investment acquisitions that they could make. Like, you want to have
they can't get those titles for different reasons, though. They can't get those titles because it's hard to get the people who own them to get out of bed for a small time deal. No, I'm serious. Like, if the production committee is not going to meet for some 1995 shit that Tristan likes, like, what are you going to offer them? How many thousands of dollars per episode do you have to offer them to make them remember that they're on the production committee? That's
true. That is God.
And then it's no longer a cheap ratio to viewership, cheap acquisition to viewership ratio. It's like, I'm not saying that anime's plumbed out and like they've licensed all the good stuff, but it is a lot harder picking these days. And also getting a bulk deal is the like real strategy. Like I'm saying, like working with the single publisher and getting their entire catalog, or at least huge portions of their catalog. But anime is dispersed between a lot of different content holders. It's just very challenging work. And also you need to have the relationships in the first place to even make those pitches or even know who to talk to. Like, who do you talk to for this anime or that anime? There are very few people who know, because if you worked in anime and you're good, you are smart and leave and get more money paid in any other industry. And if you're stupid like me, you are, just doing your damnedest and have a lot of clients. And you're making it okay, but like, rich over here.
But I mean, if you wanted to go and license and make a 1080p release of Princess Tutu, who the hell do you ask? Because JP didn't even get a 1080p release of Princess Tutu. So good luck getting the masters on that crap.
Well, there are no masters for that era, probably. Like, what we see is probably the best. And Sentai is not necessarily... Probably still has the rights. Yeah, they still have the rights, right? It's on High Dive.
Yeah.
So then,
I mean, they had it a long time ago. It's been like 5 or 6 years since I've looked, and in that time they could have lost it and just not.
And I don't think they've ever done a remaster of anything.
Yeah. And with older,
how I've looked at that is like, did Japan ever release said show in Blu-ray or 1080p anywhere? And if the answer is no, we're never getting it here.
I mean,
that's not always true.
Discotheque and Anime Go. Yeah.
Ghost Stories has a Blu-ray release in North America and not in Japan.
Ghost Stories, though,
it's special.
It's very special.
And Sentai does put out good, like their Pat Labor box set was wonderful.
Yeah,
expensive, but yes, wonderful.
The Galactic Heroes Blu-rays were a real
treat. Be nice.
Must be freaking nice.
I mean, there are problems with them in some ways. It's, like
yeah, for all 14 of you who own them, you really struggle.
Wasn't meant to, but like they're great. Yeah, I mean, the production committee system does add wrinkles too, right? With trying to acquire the classics, right? Because there'll be these great anime that you want to license, and like a portion of the rights is owned by a defunct toy company or some restaurant.
Well, that part actually isn't an issue. No, not usually. That if someone owns, so what happens is if there has been a rights holder before, one member of the committee is usually tasked with having the rights, right? Like one of their roles on the committee is to do overseas sales. So you can just talk to that company. They may have to talk to the rest of the committee, but if another member of the committee is dissolved, there are usually ways around that, or they don't have to do it because like it's been long enough and they can just send an email and a check. But finding which member, but for anything that has never been licensed overseas and is from before about 2010, it can be hard to know which member of the committee would or should have overseas rights. And then if that's a debate, then you need all members of the committee. There are so many different complications, right?
Yeah. Big pain in the ass.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that if you look at Nielsen, and I recommend you look at Nielsen's monthly charts and reports because they're very brief but very interesting. Roku, Tubi, and other SVOD services like Samsung TV Plus and the like are all taking up a bigger share of viewership than things like Amazon Prime or similar. Right?
Which makes sense because they're free.
Well, they're all bigger than HBO Max.
Well, it's free, but they're like built into shit. So like people get Roku. Well, people have to go and buy Roku boxes, but like Samsung TV, that exists in any Samsung,
whether you want it or
television
not.
that
Yeah.
you buy.
And
Well, I mean,
there are
like
a lot of
I was just going to say it tracks because it's like, you know, public access and basic cable versus pay cable, right? You know, there's a reason that in Canada, YTV is foundational to every single kid's childhood, and Teletoon is only the kids who had a little bit more money. And
that's why I didn't watch Gundam as a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But my point is the fast channels, there are a lot more of them these days, and there are a lot more anime-centric ones, and they're starting to do a lot better. So if you just want to sit back and relax, turn your brain off and watch like anime, there's usually a High Dive channel. There's about a dozen Viz channels, right? Like there's going to be a Pokemon channel. There's going to be It's Anime. There's going to be Retro Crush. Sometimes there's going to be other things in that vein. There's just going to be a bunch of anime channels that are increasingly interesting. I don't like
Tubi
suffering through ads. But
Tubi is one of the best places to go to watch any kind of animation these days.
Oh, and yeah, Tubi lets you pick too, so you don't have to just do the linear experience. You can just pick from a catalog.
It's great.
I hate watching ads, so I don't do it normally. But
yeah, but I mean,
I'll put on the Star Trek channel or one of the anime channels in the background sometimes, though.
And with that,
and with that, we should finally get to our main quest. This might be the longest we've ever gone before getting to the main quest.
We're pretty close to, if not the actual limit, pre-main quest. Thankfully, it is a short OVA.
Although I feel like there's quite a bit to talk about here.
Intro it for us, Geoff.
I was just gonna do that. So today we are talking about Metal Skin Panic Madox-01. A classic OVA from 1987, so right at the height of the OVA era. Just a 40-minute short film that is surprisingly important, not just like in Japan. You know, it was one of the first things directed by Shinji Aramaki. Kaoru Wada did the music. You know, like a lot of important people worked on it. It was AIC and Artmic. So, you know, the Bubblegum Crisis people, which like directly leads into the Tenchi OVAs, the entire harem genre. There's a lot of like really important stuff packed up in this 40-minute OVA from a Japanese media anthropology perspective. But also, it was the first thing ever put on home video, I believe, by Animego in the 90s, or one of the first releases.
First anime home video release in America.
Yeah. So it like created the direct-to-video anime fandom. Like, if you remember going to Blockbuster and renting Ninja Scroll, think this anime. It's that important. You know, like prior to the 90s anime boom, right? In 96, 97, right? This was the most important thing that ever happened to anime in North America. One could argue. You could also argue Robotech or Star Blazers, but like for creating the fandom and feeding the fandom as a market in itself.
I feel like Ninja Scroll and Akira did more for fandom building specifically.
Yeah, but those basically were on the shoulders of
this.
It's one of those things that it's just like, I find it hard to make the argument for how great it was just because it was first, even if it didn't do it the best. That's the thing.
I mean,
so the thing is,
yes, you can make the argument that the better things wouldn't have existed without this, but
no, you don't even need to make that argument. Like to the it was foundational because it was the foundation, right? Like, so yes, Akira and Ninja Scroll were much more important in terms of like
to the culture,
net effect and the culture. But I mean, even on the culture, this built in the kind of weirdos who would start becoming the champions of those, the early adopters of Akira.
Yeah, and
right?
and like I wouldn't say better. Maybe with Akira, I'd say better because Akira is like top.
Akira.
You know, when we get to Akira, it's going to be like very close to the top of the list. I don't think that's
maybe.
Maybe I don't know. Akira is one of my favorite anime movies of all time, but
it's not very high on mine or Tristan's. It's not even on Tristan's list, and I can't find it on mine. Do I not have it on mine at all? It should be on my list, but it's pretty low.
But like I think Madox-01 is definitely in the same ballpark of quality as Ninja Scroll, and maybe even better. And
in certain ways, yes. In other ways, absolutely not.
Yeah, okay. You know, if you want to talk about, I really like the story of this as like an enjoyer of fun, stupid bullshit. This is some of the most fun, stupid bullshit I've ever watched in my life.
Hey, I got trapped in a mech and I really got to go see my girlfriend who's going to be leaving.
That's like literally the greatest premise for a movie of all time, right? Like literally
it's
like
not even a movie. It's 45 minutes.
I mean, yeah, even better, a tight 40. But like, so I mean, that could be the story of a music video, right? You know, guy's girlfriend is leaving. He's thinking about just letting her go because it's easier that way, but he doesn't really want to do that. He's got one last chance to make it work, but he's got to get to the place that they're going to meet before midnight. And also he accidentally got trapped in a giant robot that fell off the back of a secret prototype giant robot that fell off the back of a truck. And
that is his buddy helped him lug into his garage and he decided to poke and prod at right before having to go meet his girlfriend.
And the entire Japanese American military industrial complex is trying to get it back from him. But also there's a tank pervert who loves tanks and hates mechs because mechs are going to replace tanks. And he wants to destroy the mech so that mechs don't replace tanks. And his name is Lieutenant Kilgore.
Kilgore is so dumb when like you also have the Apocalypse Now poster on the wall. Cause I'm like, Kilgore, really?
Yeah, really. I love this whole thing. It's like, is there a more perfect encapsulation of the late 80s economic bubble vibe?
Riding Beam.
Okay, fair. Riding Beam. But like...
Beam.
Riding Bean, sorry. Yeah, Riding Bean...
Megazone 2-3.
Dominion Tank. I mean, Megazone. No, I'd say Riding Bean, Megazone, Dominion Tank Police, You're Under Arrest. This are all like in this kind of zone of just like, you know, you just feel that scene where he goes into the konbini with the giant robot.
That's not a going into the konbini, that's a crashing into a konbini and then politely asking them to heat up some
yeah,
some
because
food
he's hungry, right? Like, you know, he's got a long trek ahead of him and he needs his bento to get his energy back up.
Say nothing of the collateral damage to everything he just caused.
God, there's so much detail porn in this anime, right? It's such
that is definitely like one of the highlights, like the stylization and the animation, and like the opening to Patlabor 2 would not exist without the opening to Madox-01.
Right?
Same. It's basically the same intro.
Well, they get mixed up all together. They do it together in like the compilations where people are trying to just like get a bunch of like engagement farm. Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. Yeah. Watching the fingers. Dude, I will always watch the fingers. It's great.
Oh God, yeah, like the little switches and like, you know,
I still think Patlabor did it better, but again, I can agree that Patlabor wouldn't have existed without that part of it anyway.
Pat Labor's better in everything, so it doesn't we don't need to compare to Pat Labor.
It's not a fair comparison, right? Like Pat Labor is
the
literature
greatest anime of all time,
and this is pulp, right? You know,
but it's such fun pulp.
It's some of my favorite pulp, right up there with Project Echo, right? Like it's just it's such a ride, and it gets going and it doesn't stop. That's what I really love about it, right? It's got
he can't stop. He's got to get there.
Yeah, he's got to get there before his girlfriend.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, like it's all of those. You know, like I feel like there's a million Hallmark movies. I already forget the movie that I mentioned before.
It happened
the Cary Grant one.
No.
Date to Remember or some shit. But like the where you got to get to the Empire State Building before the girl leaves, right? You know, there's so many things like this. I feel like it's been the plot of music videos and Hallmark movies before. It feels like a quintessential narrative in the same way as the Hurt Hero's journey. You know, like it's just it transcends the story it's part of to a certain degree. It just feels like an archetype. And then you add a giant robot to that, and it's amazing.
It's not even a giant robot. It's more of a
medium-sized robot, which is the best size of like robot.
Armor.
You're such a Metabots guy.
I'm a Pat Labor guy. I think fundamentally the robots should be cars. I'm saying I'm a Pat Labor guy. Really, I'm a Steambot Chronicles guy. I'm a Ponketsu Roman Bumpy Trot guy. Why'd I say bunky? Bumpy Trot. I'm a Bumpy Trot man. Because that was,
fundamental.
Fun to my childhood. It changed my entire life. But like, you know, this idea of like a steampunk country where instead of putting money into paving the roads, they were just like, these roads are really rocky. We can never make wheels work in the terrain around our cities. We just need to give our cars legs. That is the solution. And you know what? Maybe that's what we should have done. Maybe cars should have legs and we shouldn't have highways. That's my hot take. But I think the idea of, like, I love giant robot cars. Don't get me wrong. Megas XLR, peak, absolute, unimpeachable, one of the greatest works of American television of all time. But medium-sized robot cars, robot car hatchbacks, robot car minivans, that's where it's at, baby. Or in this case, robot car, like a dinky little smart car.
Yeah, when he's walking around Shinjuku and like he like gets to the oh yeah, there's no cars allowed on weekends. That was so funny. Like this show tries to be funny, or like this movie tries to be funny in so many different moments, and it's like not, because I'm like, what are you talking? Like when he like actually has the ramen, I mean the heated meal, the rice dish heated up, and I'm like, from the convenience, I'm like, wait, I thought that was just a goof. They actually heated it up for him. He just destroyed their store. Like everything in this whole thing is like such, like whenever it tries to be funny, I'm like, but like I'm thinking about it and I can't turn my brain all the way off. Like I'm trying to, I really am trying to, but I'm like, and I'll laugh in spite of it, but I'll still be like, it's hard to find funny when it, why are you not trying to, like, why is this your response to things is my question to the main character at every given minute, and that's fine. But also, it's a little frustrating and makes it not as funny. But when he goes to, like, Shinjuku and he's like, oh yeah, that's right, no cars on Saturday, and he just starts walking around instead of, like, driving, that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
I think all of that, like what you're saying about the Konbini thing, living here, I feel like if that happened, my local Konbini workers would just roll with it. That's kind of the culture to a certain extent.
My pay grade.
Yeah, like they're just like, you know what? He's coming in to pay, whatever, sure. You know, like they're very understanding folks in that kind of regard.
They've seen some shit.
You know, like I don't like it's the cop's job to deal with it, right? Like, sure. Take this and get out of the store. You know, I'll heat it up for you if it gets you out of the store faster. Why not? Right?
Okay, sure.
Like, I don't know. To me, that makes sense. But also, like when I say it feels like a music video, I like it occupies a very similar space in my mind to Tron Legacy, for example.
Sure.
Of like, it's just, I can put this on at any time and just soak in the vibes. This is one of the anime that I prefer to watch dubbed. Like the sub is really like the original Japanese is really good, but there's just, it adds a layer of comedy and vibes having that like classic 90s, like we're figuring it out dub, but also we're Animego making our first major statement as a release to the burgeoning anime fandom in the United States, and we need to prove this product.
And we still probably had a dub that was recorded in like a treehouse somewhere or something.
And just for context, it was the first subtitled release, like uncensored, uncut subtitled release. I think there were anime on VHS and Betamax before that, or I'm certain there were, but none of them were like, it was all things like Robotech, right? Like
Robotech and Star Blazers and
not
Battle of the Planets,
Star Blazers
and stuff like that. Voltron,
Muppet Babies. Not this
Transformers.
Transformers the movie specifically. Yeah.
Oh man, this is also very spiritually close to like not just Transformers the movie, but specifically the "You've Got the Touch" moments of Transformers the movie. It's just an entire 40 minutes of that.
For the listeners at home, if I have sounded anything less than extremely positive about this movie, I want to apologize, by the way, because I put this on and I was so happy to rewatch this. Like, I just was joyous for the whole 40 minutes. It was just like coming home. It felt so nice and warm and pleasant, and it looked great for every one of those 40 minutes. Like, I love watching Madox-01. It is so much fun.
When I come home from Japan, I have one of the first things I'll do when I get home, get to my home theater setup that I have in Edmonton, I put on Madox-01. It's one of the first things I do every time because it's so comfy.
When we watched this, it was our first time. Tristan doesn't remember it anymore, I guess, because he doesn't have a soul.
I remember it now. I didn't remember it at the time. I'm a little drugged up and feverish at the moment, so my memory's not all there.
Was this one of the first things that we watched?
It was. It was like, well, it wasn't the first thing because we did Wicked City.
We did a Kawajiri thing first. It's called Wicked Sunday.
We did like 3 or 4 Kawajiri things, and then we watched this just because I'd wanted to watch it, and like Geoff, you were so giddy. You were giddy the whole time. Like, I don't think you were even like. You were just,
I was having a blast.
You were just having such a good time. And afterwards, you were almost like, can we watch it again? Like, that was your attitude. Like, can we just start it from the
It's a roller coaster ride, and I want to go again every time. I love it. Project Echo, it's, but even more so because it's tighter, like, you can watch this twice in the time it takes to watch most feature films. And you should. It's so good.
If you watch it twice in a row, then it becomes a tight 80.
I think about the other things that came out around this time from AIC, who was doing a lot of great OVAs at the time. Like the Gall Force trilogy, which I adore. They're not good. Like Fight Ixer-1, incredible, a couple years earlier. But like Black Magic M66, so much fun. What's it called? Writing Bean, I already mentioned. Legend of Lemnir, like the Megazone 2-3 trilogy. I love. And the Megazone 2-3 trilogy is pretty much the closest thing to this in terms of like giving off that same vibe. And so like that's the only place where I'm like, man, is this a list contender? Or is this just something that I really love and I will show to anyone who listens?
I mean, yeah, that is the question we have to answer. And I want to say, yeah, I want to say it's a big time list contender because it's a Shinji Aramaki original. I think the first Shinji Aramaki original, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, his debut. And he apparently said, "This sucks." I mean, everyone says that about their first thing, but he was like very open about it.
I mean, yeah, he can say that, but like, sure. He also made Ultra, like, I enjoy Shinji Aramaki's things that he makes sometimes more than his opinions. You know, I don't think this sucks. I think this rules. I think that, like, I think he's probably cringing at how much of himself he put into this. And how much of this is just...
He very much seems like the type of person that would much rather be like, if you're going to look at anything that I've done, please, for the love of God, go watch Appleseed. Don't watch this.
Yeah, but I'd rather watch this than Appleseed every day of the week.
Yeah, because, I mean, God, like...
I like Appleseed just fine.
It's not even the good Appleseed.
You know what the thing about Shinji Aramaki is? Like, I do really like most of the things he's made, but he was born to make manga Ghost in the Shell, and he desired to make Oshi Ghost in the Shell. That is the problem with Shinji Aramaki.
Helping being a director with Kenji Kamiyama with SAC 2045.
Yeah. Right? Like he wants to make this serious stuff, right? Like, but fundamentally, he's a man who excels at having fun, you know? And I think all of his best stuff is just the stuff where he goes buck wild and just has a blast with it.
Honestly, I like looking at his work. I feel like he seems to have a lot more fun, not in the director's chair, but like in more of the conceptual and design areas, as far as like both mech design and show design. This man did CG work for Tamers. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, like let's actually look at his, because this is also, he did all the character designs for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did
the mechanical designs.
Yeah, the mechanical designs. This is probably the most Shinji Aramaki anime in existence, because it like I don't even know who wrote it, but did he write it? Because like I can't find a writer credit, but
well, I mean, if there isn't a writer credit, then yeah, he probably wrote it as a storyboard.
Yeah, right? Like, so it's so Aramaki core in that respect. Like, all of the characters are like, you know, just the way their heads are shaped, the hairstyles that they have. It's all like Aramaki-ness, and you can tell he was a friend of or a fan of Ghost in the Shell, and what's the mangaka who made Ghost in the Shell? Yeah. You can tell he's a fan, right? You know, you can feel that sort of influence there, and a lot of, but like Bubblegum Crisis, Scried, you know, like he was doing some of the cool extra power features for Scried and like world design on that. Digimon Tamers, the CG in that, Megazone, the Transformers.
Aramaki, who was in charge of the original idea, directing, and mechanical design, later recalled about the series that he was in his 20s and didn't know what to be afraid of when he made the OVA.
Good.
Which I mean, he probably meant that in a more negative mind, but I feel like that's a positive. You don't know what to be afraid of, so that you just don't give a shit.
Okay, like you want to talk about, like, okay, we're going to talk about probably the most legendary run of, he did mechanical design on the New Adventures of He-Man? Sorry. But I'm just going to run through this man's like 2000 to I'll just stop when it stops being impressive. But you know, did Bubblegum Crisis and Tokyo 2040 in 1999. Went on to CG design for Digimon Tamers. Went from there to do design works for Scried. Went from there to Crush Gear Turbo. Never heard of it, but probably very impressive. If I watched that, I'd probably be like, hell yeah. From there, Witch Hunter Robin design works. Think about the vibes there. Wolf's Rain mechanical design.
Well, arguably, how much mechanical design was in Wolf's Rain? I don't remember much. But the ones that was there is probably fantastic.
Same year as that, Astro Boy 2003, the most impressive cel-animated TV show of all time, and specifically for mech animation. It can't be beat. Right off of that into Full Metal Alchemist 03 production design. From there into Gundam MS Igloo, Naruto the movie, Ninja Clash in the Land of Snow mechanical design.
That actually pretty cool. Yeah, okay.
Sugar Rune did art concepts for the Makai realm. Project Blue Earth SOS, who cares? Ray Dean.
There are so many different Raydeen ones. We can skip over that.
I don't even remember what the 2007 Raydeen looked like.
Okay, I mean, still, it's a going on to Kishin Taisen Gigantic Formula. Never heard of that. Probably has badass mechanical design because it's him. Soul Eater, and then Halo Legends and Star Driver. FMA Sacred Star of Milos. The only good thing about FMA Sacred Star of Milos is the mechanical design. Tenkai Knights and Blade Runner Blackout 2022. Just a legendary run from beginning to end. And this was the most control he ever had over a project. And the most insane he was ever willing to go with it because it was his first thing and he didn't know better.
Well, I mean, arguably, he went a lot crazier with the 3 different Appleseed things he's done.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, we could do anything now. We have CGI.
Yeah.
That worked out
Early
great.
2000 CGI. I mean, I'll make fun of Appleseed 04, but it's an okay movie. It has its moments.
The mechanical design is the one thing I would not ever complain about in it, right? You know, like
no. Like
Apple,
like in the world of Appleseed, I much prefer the actual 80s OVA Appleseed than the 2000 CG run. But
Appleseed kind of paved the way for CGI in all mecha things now, and maybe that's a bad thing. You know, some mecha fans would say that's a bad thing, but he proved it could work. And he was literally the first guy to prove it could work. Let me double check. When was Appleseed one? Yeah, not the first guy to do mechas in 3D, just so you're aware. That would be Run Dim 2001. First CG mecha thing, first ever fully CG TV show produced in America or produced in Japan. First ever fully 3D CG anime TV show, 2001. You look at the mechs in that, terrible, garbage. Still the best part of it, but not very good. And then Aramaki came along and he was like, no, this is how you do it. And now there's CG in Gundam. There's CG everywhere. Did Seed have CG Gundams?
That was Digipaint. I think they might have used it. I mean, Seed is a 50 some odd episode series. I think they might have used it occasionally, but I have not watched Seed in so long. I don't remember if they had CG Gundams. I know by the time we hit Double O, we were using CG, but I don't remember if Seed and Sea Destiny had CG.
I think it was all hand animated, if I remember correctly.
It would not.
The tech wasn't there yet.
Oh, I'm gonna feel terrible if it was the first, and that's also why it's pretty bad.
No, I feel like it was the last hurrah of fully 2D animated mecha, and that might be a significant part of why people are more nostalgic for Seed now than they were at the time. You know, because if you're thinking about
the only Gundam they had for a decade, man.
If you're thinking about the production and not the story, Seed's pretty impressive. You know,
Locus, the only Gundam is for such a decade. You just had to like it if you liked Gundam. It's not I mean, it was hard to watch old Gundam at that time too. So like if you were a fan in the aughts of Gundam, you know,
until
you
the
had
late
Seed
when,
and that was it.
Double O came out, yeah.
Which is when my first Gundam. properly, at least.
Well, yeah, properly. Like, I'd watched Wing, of course, but...
Yeah, I watched bits and pieces of Wing, but I didn't get into it. Which is a shame because, like, what an insane show. I in the best way.
Kill you.
So, where does it go on the list?
Where does it go on the list?
Yeah, I guess all that's left to talk about is the fights are so good. Every single like moment of action in this, but that's all you have to say. So where does it go on the list, right?
Because here's the thing. Because like we've already talked about it compared to Eiko. I'd put it compared to Golden Boy in some respects. Yes, it predates Golden Boy by like 7-8 years, but it still has that old Cell OVA vibe to it, even though Golden Boy was on the tail end of that. And I would prefer Golden Boy as a personal position. I would have Golden Boy be higher.
I think I'm more attached to Golden Boy too. You know, I feel like maybe are we underrating Cromartie High School?
No. So I have thought that a couple times compared to a lot of things we have on the list. But the thing is, all the things above it, we really, really, really like.
Yeah.
Like, I was just thinking about Pokemon today for a lot of reasons. And just about how much, like, heart there is and how much that show means to me. And, like, I know that's not really Quest for the Best style, but, like, man, I just love putting on an episode of Pokemon. It feels great.
I would sit down and watch any episode of Pokemon you put in front of me. It doesn't even have to be... it doesn't even have to be Kanto. It could be Johto. It could be you put on Orange Islands. I'll watch it. I don't give a crap.
I feel the same way about Cromartie High School, though. You know, like I feel like
I'm saying I have less emotional attachment to Cromartie, but like Cromartie being below Pokemon does not feel gross. Like, but Pokemon's the only thing that you could move below it, because like Space Adventure Cobra the movie's already a little lower than it should be. But like, if you want to move Pokemon below Cromartie, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I feel like it should be. I've been thinking, you know, more about like how much A, Cromartie meant to me, and B, just how much I enjoy all the jokes in it.
Yeah, it's really good. But the thing is, we agreed that Konosuba was funnier, and that's the best thing Cromartie has going for it, so it can't be higher than Konosuba no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're pretty close still.
Yeah, I like some days man, some of the jokes in Cromartie are so funny.
And again, would love to get Cleopatra, Queen of Sex, higher up, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Probably not.
Yeah. No. So for Madox-01, you think below Golden Boy?
I would think below Golden Boy. Beyond that, I don't really know necessarily where.
I mean,
because it's like I'm trying to think based on my memory of like when we watched Cobra. I think I preferred Cobra over Maddox. Not by much, though. I could take it either way, above or below.
Space Adventure Cobra's there. Literally, our episode was for the vibes because that episode was that movie is immaculate to watch.
It is.
It's a treat.
I like if like they're both for the vibes, right? I think they're both fundamentally for the vibes, and to me, I like Maddox's vibes a little more personally. That's
it's okay to be wrong. Yeah.
I also like that Maddox is shorter, and I can watch it twice in the time it takes me to watch Cobra.
Yeah, Cobra is a whole arc from a manga. It's pretty impressive. They put it into hour 35 or whatever. I mean, I'm fine with it in this area. I just think it should be below Cobra.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like I don't know.
I love it.
I am now thinking like is it above Cromartie for me though? Like the thing is,
that's a question for you, Geoff. Like I'd probably put Cromartie higher, but for reasons that you've mentioned of like, I don't know how many times I would actively choose to go and rewatch Maddox. You could ask me right now if I wanted to go and watch episodes of Cromartie, and I'd say yes. Now I don't know how much we want to put rewatchability as a metric here, but
I'd rewatch both of them at any given time, but like I don't think about the jokes in Maddox constantly, right?
Compared to they're not very good.
That's not the reason why you would want to watch Madox. That's not the reason I would recommend Madox either.
Yeah, you watch it for just the one of the coolest mech versus tank fights ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the intro sequence, by the way, I know we didn't talk about it too much, but like the intro sequence is like some of the coolest combat you see in anime, period.
Yeah, and as somebody who lives in Tokyo, there is something really special about this, you know, like I live near Shotengai's exactly like the one where it starts, you know, with the little repair shop, and, you know, he comes out and, you know, all the crazy stuff that happens there.
Yeah, from a stylistic standpoint, I would agree with you, Miles, in that the intro sequence is really, really good. I mean, I still prefer almost any tank sequence from Girls in Panzer over this, but Girls in Panzer is very like late 2000s, early 2010s stylistically, and it doesn't fit the same vibe as 80s OVA, which does have its own charm to it.
There's imagery in this that just lives in my heart, right? And part of that is because I have such fond memories of our anime night together watching it. Like, that was such a blast. But
yeah,
also,
I meant a lot to Tristan, clearly.
I know, right?
But also it's just, it is the perfect, like I can put it on and have a good time any day, right? You know, it's super consumable, right? Like it's just the right length to feel like a pretty satisfying character arc and story arc, but also short enough that it feels like watching one episode of a TV show, right? Like, fundamentally, 40 minutes is still 30 minutes if we're talking about, you know, like time budgeting and stuff, in the same way that $7 is $5. You know?
So, above or below Cromartie?
But that's because Cromartie, there's so many just little jokes in Cromartie that are just like play at the back of my head when I'm making new jokes. And I don't think that Madox-01 informs my day-to-day life in the way that, you know, every joke with Mechazawa is that is what comedy is to me, really. This idea, this idea of like a robot being in class and nobody acknowledges, like, he's just a regular guy. Sorry, did I say robot? A regular guy.
He's just a regular guy. Well, like, what are you talking about? He's just Mechazawa.
Yeah, just, but also the nicest guy in class. And just everything about Mechazawa is just, and I as a mech, I like Mechazawa more than I like the Madox. So Cromartie High School goes above it for me, but yeah.
All right. That's where it goes.
Now that I'm looking at Milky Subway, the Galactic Limited Express, it also occupies a similar mental space to me as that of something that I can just rewatch in a similar time frame and just have a ton of fun with, and every
Milky
single
Subway
moment with it, I'm
exactly
smiling.
the hell where it is.
No, so here's the thing, Geoff. I actually thought you were going to say this. I was ready for you, and I have my response ready.
Oh, no.
Which is, Milky Subway is a compromise because Tristan loves it so much that it's that high up, right? Like,
yeah.
he's pulling it up. He's pulling up. We both love it, but Tristan really, really loves it. You put this below Final Fantasy Spirits Within on your list.
Did I?
You did.
Wait, really? I mean, that's probably just because I forgot to. Yeah, I wasn't ranking the movies. I wasn't thinking about ranking the movies.
But still, I saw that. I'm like,
yeah. I think below Cromartie High School is where it belongs. Like, okay. I'm not. But above Pokemon, for sure.
That's fine.
I would rather rewatch this than any of the Pokemon movies, or, I mean, maybe not some episodes of Pokemon, because that is like deep in my childhood.
Pokemon's huge. There are plenty of episodes of Pokemon I'd watch over this, and I would at least once watch Pokemon 2000 over Madox. But I have a lot of nostalgia for Pokemon 2000.
I have a lot of nostalgia too, but like, on many levels, that is not a good movie. It's a very fun movie. We should do Pokemon movies at some point.
That's
maybe
a
just
good bonus episode where we just rank the Pokemon movies.
Or like the first 3, we'd have to go through them a little bit at a time.
I know very little of the Pokemon movies beyond 3, despite the fact that I have Pokemon Forever on VHS. I've never watched it.
That one's actually pretty good. It's the most like Ghibli at home kind of.
That's the Celebi one, not the Entei one, right?
Yeah, it's the Celebi.
Oh, wait,
the
no,
Entei
I
one
was
is 3.
thinking of a completely different one. Entei was 3,
Entei's good.
Celebi was 4. I was talking about 5.
Entei's, 5 is the Latios one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one I have on
I
VHS and I've never watched it. I did watch the Celebi and I did watch Entei and the Unknown.
So the thing is, I haven't watched that one either. I think I caught it in bits and pieces on YTV way back in the day. I have no attachment to the story or anything, but like the canal race sequence from that movie is so good. It gets posted on Twitter pretty frequently. It's like a Pokemon canal race. Ash is like behind. Does he have his Totodile dragging him, or I forget? But
all of that to say, we probably should look at the Pokemon movies at some point. In time. You leave Milky Subway the hell alone.
I will leave Milky Subway the hell alone.
Is moving it up, not down. That's not going anywhere.
I gotta go see the movie while it's still in theaters.
You should. The fact that I'm seeing unsubtitled videos about the movie show up on the main YouTube channel is annoying as shit to me because I can't even watch it subbed because it's a movie. They're not going to release it on YouTube. That sucks.
I mean, they might release it on Blu-ray at some point, and
at some point, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, the thing is, Milky Subway has like a pretty good international release momentum behind it. I wouldn't be surprised if
we'll see.
I would love it if it got a galactic limited release in North America.
I mean, it took forever for freaking beginning of a new era to come over here. And even then, it's super limited release.
Oh, no, it doubled its theaters. It's in a lot of places now because they were selling out.
Since the last time I checked.
Yeah, no, they keep adding new theaters because they keep selling out. Go Uma Musume.
I'm so happy that Uma Musume has gone from like, did you know that this is the most popular thing in Japan right now? To, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I understand. I understand horse girls. I understand the appeal of horse girls.
Also Top Gun, because there's literally a horse girl called Mayano Top Gun. She did promotion. The voice actress did promotions with Tom Cruise for Top Gun Maverick.
I really, really, really hope that Uma Musume taking off in America like it is leads to them being able to license American horses. That would be the greatest thing in the world.
We'll see.
If they could get some American and European horses in there, expand the Uma Musume cinema.
The player base of the game, so we'll see.
Dude, imagine an Uma Musume series at just a British boarding school.
Jeff. Most people in the world have one fear, and that's American lawyers.
I'm more scared of Japanese lawyers.
I've played Phoenix Wright. I don't know if I should be scared of them. Anyway, as another Miles, Japanese lawyer, signing off.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Next time on Quest for the Best, Cyberpunk Edgerunners.